Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Confessions of a Dating Coach, the podcast. I'm your host, dating and relationship coach, Claire Grigson, and today we are going to be talking about reframing endings, breakups, divorce, so that you can move forwards feeling more empowered. And I want to speak to my own story a bit in this podcast episode because it's really important to me that you get to know me on a bit of a deeper level. I want these podcast episodes to feel like we're just sitting down and we're having a chat and we're chewing the fat on all things dating and relationships. And this really came up for me because I was reflecting on how often we can see endings, breakups, divorce as a failure, how often we can feel like that's a reflection on our self-worth and our value. And I really want to help you reframe that. So if you are going through something at the moment, if you have been through a breakup, I know you all have. I know that everybody listening to this podcast has been through a breakup at some point. I want to help you to be able to reframe that so you can move forwards feeling more empowered, feeling more confident, and being able to let go of any feelings of being a failure, any feelings of shame, any feelings of embarrassment. And first of all, I just want to remind you that we are all human. Things not going to plan and endings are very much part of this shared human experience. Everybody is going to experience a breakup of some kind at some point in their life, and it's really painful. I am never going to toxic positivity bullshit you into being like everything in life is an opportunity for growth and it's an opportunity to learn and we just need to see the good in it. Do you know what? Some things in life are really, really difficult and they're really, really shit. And you also get to move forwards and learn from them. So I want to talk to my own experience a little bit in terms of my experience of endings, breakups, divorce. So I got divorced in my mid-30s. I had been in that relationship for 14 years, since the age of 19. My whole adult life, I had been in relationship. And when my marriage ended, I really did feel this deep sense of failure. I felt like I had got it wrong. I felt like people would be judging me and laughing at me, and I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed, even though there had been a lot that had gone on in my marriage leading up to that point. Been in marriage counseling multiple times. My ex-partner had cheated on me. We'd tried to work through a lot of that. It was really difficult. There had been a lot of things that had led up to that point. But even so, when it came to that relationship ending, I can remember feeling this sense of failure, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't able to hold it together. And what really helped me to start reframing that was I took this as an opportunity. When I got divorced, I took this as an opportunity to start a new chapter, to really see this ending as a new beginning, even though it felt very painful to begin with. Because in my mind, there was a couple of choices that I could make. I could either say, okay, I've been through this divorce, it's been really painful, it's been really difficult, I don't deserve this, I'm a good person. And I could have been in that victim mindset and stayed in that victim mindset. The other option was to see this as an opportunity to start a new chapter, to really get to know myself, to say, okay, this feels a little bit scary. Being single for the first time at the age of 33, 34. And this also gets to be an opportunity for me to start a new chapter, for me to build a relationship with myself, for me to get to know myself on a deeper level. And that wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't have experienced that ending. Now, when you're in the absolute thick of it, you're not going to be thinking that way. And that is understandable because we all go through a process of grieving. When something comes to an end, whether it's a 2 month situationship or whether it's a 20-year marriage, we go through a grief process and you need to allow time and space to be able to process the emotions that come up, to look after yourself, to show yourself compassion. But then on the other side of that, there gets to be opportunity. You get to create opportunity for yourself. And something that I know so many of my clients find so useful, and it's something that I come back to as well, is that rejection is redirection. When something doesn't work out in life, whether it's you've been on a couple of dates with someone, whether you're in a relationship with somebody, if that doesn't work out, you are being redirected to something else. And I know for me, believing that allowed me to have a sense of trust in life and to know that even though this isn't what I want in this moment, like I want this relationship to work out and it's not, I trust that I am being redirected. I trust that there is something better on the other side of this, that there is an opportunity. In everything we experience in life, we tell ourselves a story around that. Everything we experience is a story that we tell ourselves. And you get to decide what that story is. You get to decide what meaning you place on that experience. And I always say this with the nuance of I'm not talking about atrocities that are going on in the world. I'm talking about this in the context of dating and relationships where there's not been physical, emotional, mental abuse. Okay, I'm talking about dating and relationships in the context of, let's say, for example, you have been on a date, three dates with someone, and you thought it was going really well. And then he says, I just don't feel a connection, or I'm not ready for a relationship, or I'm not feeling the spark. Now, there's stories that you can tell yourself around that. You could tell yourself the story of, oh my goodness, like it must be me. What did I say? You start reading back through all the text messages. You're like, was it when I said that thing? Or was it when I like tripped over my words? Or did I come on too strong? And you assume that it's something to do with you, that there's something wrong with you, and that you have caused this situation through your words and your actions. And you make that experience mean that you're not good enough, that there's something wrong with you. It's another story that you could tell yourself around this. You could tell yourself the story of, this isn't my person. And that is okay. It is okay to go on a few good dates with someone and for it not to lead to anything more. It's not a reflection on my worth or my value as a woman. It's just that this isn't it. And that is okay. And you can feel the difference in the energy, right, between those two stories that you could tell yourself. Of course, there's lots of stories. There's unlimited stories in terms of stories that you want to tell yourself. But I just want to give you a little bit of an example. So what difference would it make if you could reframe rejection as redirection, even if it feels painful in the moment? This isn't about, again, toxic positivity bullshit. This isn't about saying, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, if it's not, if it's really painful. But it's also about saying, I get to trust that if this isn't working out, there's something else on the other side. And that is providing that you're allowing yourself time and space for self-reflection, that you're learning from your experiences. If this is more that you're just stuck in the same pattern over and over and over again, and you keep telling yourself rejection is redirection, but then it's always the same outcome time and time again, it sounds like the time to get some further support with that, to understand that pattern so you can actually break it and make different choices. But when you can reframe that, rejection is redirection, it can really help to bring in that feeling of trust. And how would it feel if endings were a new beginning? How would it feel to know that you've not even experienced some of the best days of your life yet? That you've not met some of the people that you're going to love the most yet? How would it feel to be in that energy? To be in that energy of like hope, excitement, like knowing that you've still got to experience some of the best days of your life, they are yet to come. So if you're going through an ending right now, if you're going through a breakup, like I know how tough that is. Whether it's been, you've been dating someone for a month or two, whether you've been in a long-term relationship, it can feel hard. It's heartbreaking. It can be really, really hard. It can be tricky to navigate, but it is possible to navigate and come out the other side and to learn and to grow from those experiences. And when you can start to see experiences in life as an opportunity for growth, it takes the pressure off that fear of failure because you're not going into it going, oh my goodness, like this has to be a thing. This he has to be the one. I can't have another failed talking stage or dating dynamic or relationship. When you can just say, do you know what? Regardless, this is going to be an opportunity for growth. Let's go into this with an open heart. Let's see what happens. It can make such a big difference. You're much more likely to get back out there again after you've been through a breakup or an ending. And again, context. I'm not saying you get back on the dating apps like a day after you split up with your ex. I'm not saying that at all. But when you have that trust that everything gets to be an opportunity for growth and you get to learn and grow from it, it just allows you to have this resilience, like this bounce back. And sometimes that's going to be quick and sometimes it's going to take a lot longer. And that is okay, but it will happen. It will happen. And I was working with a client who was going through a divorce. It was a really tricky divorce for her. There was a lot of mental and emotional and physical stress, which often there is. And she was in a place where she just felt that she was never going to trust any man ever again. She felt absolutely broken. But when we were able to allow her to just gently step back and to give herself that time and space to heal and to show herself compassion and to be gentle with herself, but also start to call out some of the stories, some of the beliefs, some of the narratives that weren't helping her moving forwards and to be able to shift and reframe those. It made such a big difference to how she was feeling. She went from being like, I hate all men. I never want to talk to another man ever again. They can just stay away from me, to shifting into an energy of, I'm really open to meeting somebody, but I'm not putting pressure on this because I trust that the right person is going to come along. And actually, my priority needs to be me and my own happiness. And I trust that when I'm in that energy and when I create opportunities, that the right person is going to come along. It was a completely different energy that she was in. And you can imagine which energy feels better to be in on a day-to-day basis. The energy of anger and frustration and kind of feeling hopeless, like I'm never going to meet anyone ever again, and defensive, and shifting into that open energy, that warm energy, that hopeful energy, that excitement. Also, that calm energy of like, it's going to happen. I am going to meet someone else. I don't get to control the timing of that, and that is okay. And part of that is reframing that experience, that divorce, that ending, Instead of that being a failure and a waste of time, seeing that experience as something that was necessary for her growth so that she could step into like the strong and confident woman that she is today. It doesn't mean it wasn't painful. It doesn't mean it wasn't hard. It doesn't mean it wasn't challenging. But when you can see that as an opportunity for growth, when you can reframe that, when you can say, I'm seeing this as an opportunity to start a new chapter and a new beginning, that is where you can start to alchemize the challenging experiences in life and alchemizing that into power. Alchemizing pain into power. Almost didn't say that word right. None of us are perfect, right? And I want to leave you with something to have a think about. And I want you to reflect on if you've been through a breakup, whether it's been very recent, whether it's something in the past, like what did that ending reveal to me about what I truly want and need in a relationship? Because we always get to learn and grow from our experiences if we choose to do so. Nobody can make you do this. You have to make that choice yourself. You have to choose to reflect and learn and grow and show yourself an absolute shit ton of self-compassion because it can be really uncomfortable to reflect on our previous experiences, to go, wow, that's how, that's the choices I was making. That's how I was showing up. That's what I was tolerating. That's what I was allowing. But when you can do that, when you can have the courage to give yourself space to do that, then means you can get more clear on what you do want, what you don't want, moving forwards. So you can actually create a relationship both with yourself and both with another person that is the right relationship for you, that feels supportive and nurturing and safe and exciting and it feels right. And something feeling right doesn't mean that it's not challenging at times. This is a whole nother podcast episode. We're not going to dive into it today. But something that's right doesn't always feel amazing all of the time. It does not. It does not. Again, whole different podcast episode. So if you are resonating with this, if you are curious to learn more about the work that I do with my clients, you can come and find me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, Confessions of a Dating Coach. You can drop me an email, claire@clairegregson.com. And I am always happy to have a chat to see how I can support you so that you can feel confident, so you can feel secure within yourself, so you can make better choices for you when it comes to your dating life, so that you can meet somebody to be in a relationship with where it feels good and it feels right. And it doesn't mean it feels amazing all of the time, like we just said. But so you can meet somebody who is committed and also wants to be in a relationship and wants to show up. So you can feel safe and nurtured and secure. This is the work that I do with my clients. And a lot of that is having the ability to be able to reflect and see experiences as an opportunity for growth. Because when you do that, you are always going to be shifting and changing for the better. You're always going to be able to reflect on, okay, what would I choose to do differently next time? How would that actually look? How would that feel? What can I put into place to make sure that I don't make that choice again or that I make a different decision? It's not just about the energetics, the energy of how you're being. It's not just about the mindset or the strategy. It's thinking about like the action that you can take as well, and having the tools in place to support your nervous system when you're taking that action when it feels different from what you've been doing before. So don't forget that rejection is redirection. I mean, this is another podcast episode. We'll dive into this. We'll dive into rejection on a deeper level. But just a reminding that endings can be a new beginning. It can be a new chapter, and you get to choose that for yourself. So let me know how this episode landed, and I will see you next week.